Hello, Peaceful Profits Nation. Chanel here with an exciting client spotlight episode for you today. So today we're talking to our client, Amber Renae. Civil engineer, serial entrepreneur, and TV star Amber Renae inspires women to build their dream digital business. Not only is she an icon for style, but she's also an icon for women's empowerment through her phenomenal entrepreneurial success story. Having built 3 six-figure businesses in arguably the toughest industries, she is passionate about sharing her advice, wisdom, and experiences to her peers and a 150,000 strong global community. Australia's leading voice in e-learning, Amber Renae educates thousands of students in all corners of the globe on a range of topics from entrepreneurship, digital marketing, influencer marketing, and the power of personal branding. She's the star of the hit US reality show Dream Life, which documents the creation of her latest e-learning project, and is the author of Dream Life, the creative entrepreneur's guide to amplifying your online business and achieving your dream life. And if you're lucky enough to watch it in video, there it is, her beautiful new book. Amber, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Chanel. I'm so honored to be here. I hope I can share some wisdom to the Peaceful Profits audience.
Oh, we're excited to have you and to hear all about it. So let's start off. We would love to hear a little about the journey that brought you here. So take us with you on this entrepreneurial journey.
Well, as you heard already, I started my life as a civil engineer building roads and bridges before realizing that that was just not my thing. So I started my first business, which was a fashion label. So that was manufacturing. It started with me on a sewing machine. The first week I sold 4 shirts. The next week I sold 8 shirts. 5 years later, we had 120 accounts around the world. We exported to Paris, Tokyo, LA, and South Africa. And we dressed some of the biggest stars in the world, which was Paris Hilton. And this was back before, kind of like before the internet even. This was a long time ago. So we were doing influencer marketing back before it was a thing. So that business was great, but it was definitely not peaceful. I would not recommend manufacturing to anyone. And in fact, it was so challenging at one point that the manufacturer that I had hired in Vietnam went out of business and took my business out with him. So we had prepaid all of this money, or bought all this stock, all this fabric, all these patterns, and he took it out of business. And all the money that we had invested was all on these bank loans and credit loans. And as a result, I had to go bankrupt at the age of like 26 or something like that.
Wow.
So that was my first business. During that whole process of losing what I originally described as my baby, which is a really something that I see a lot of creative entrepreneurs doing, is describing their business as a baby. Well, I lost that business. That's a really big mindset shift that I had to make moving forward, is to separate my identity and myself from the business of, what I was building. During that time, I realized I was incredibly sick. I'd basically worked myself to near death. I had cancer, stomach ulcers. I was on anti-anxiety, antidepressants, and basically swore I would never run a business ever again. That lasted about a year until I started my second business, which was a fashion consulting business. So I was working one-on-one in a fashion styling type environment, which is a service business. So I had one client at the start of the month, I'd finish that client, and then I'd have to go back and try and find another client. So that one-on-one consulting business, which again was a popular business model, until I realized that this was completely broken. I mean, I was the absolute, at one time, I was the best in Australia. I was the fashion editor of a national magazine. I was dressing all of our biggest celebrity clients, and I was doing shoots for some of the biggest brands in the world. And I was still completely burnt out. My income was completely capped at what the market was paying. It didn't matter if I was better than everyone else. Stylists got paid that amount of money, and I could never earn any more than what the market decided, right? So, and I was trading time for dollars. So as soon as my hours of my day ran out, that was the amount of money I was ever going to earn. Once again, I basically worked myself to exhaustion. Burnout and adrenal fatigue are two of my greatest hits. And once again, the global financial crisis, it kind of like the effects eventually hit Australia, and all money for things like fashion styling. At the time, I was also a TV presenter. All money for TV, fashion TV presenters dried up. And I found myself, I lost all of my contracts in the space of like 1 month. And I found myself unemployed and unemployable. I could not get a job for the life of me. I tried to go back to the construction site. They didn't even want me. And all I had left was this knowledge and all of this experience and all of this, I knew how to build brands. That's what I was good at. And so my brother at the time, this was 2015, my brother, the genius, was like, you need to start an online course. And back then, as you would know, it wasn't really a thing. So you had to kind of explain to people like, you're going to get your logins and then you'll study a course online. And, that was kind of the experience back then. But I started my business in 2015. My first course was how to be a fashion stylist. So it was how to be a celebrity fashion stylist. And I taught stylists all over the globe. It was the first online fashion styling course. And to this day, it's the #1 online fashion styling course. And we did 6 figures in that first year. And that course now does 6 figures on Evergreen every year without me touching a single thing.
Wow.
And so this is like the evolution that I've had in this business. It's the first time that I've had freedom. It's the first time I've had peace. It's the first time I've had spaciousness, because this business just operates not passively, but it does a lot of automated work all by itself without me having to be involved in the day-to-day running of the business, because I've set it up that way. It wasn't by chance.
Of course.
I remember in my first year in this business, I studied 18 e-courses in how to do digital marketing. So each week I would study a course, I would implement, I would study another course, I would implement. And as a result, I realized I was really passionate about this. I realized it was something that I could finally have all of my interests involved in. So as you know, running this kind of business requires a lot of data crunching and reading analytics and looking at numbers and algorithms. And the engineering me really enjoys doing that. And then also the creative in me really enjoys helping people, creating programs, coming up with ideas, creating content, all this kind of thing. So it's the first time that I've really married both of my skills and both of the versions of me into something that I'm truly proud of. And I'm sure you're the same. You love helping people. You love sharing stories. You love, sharing your knowledge and hoping that someone gets something out of it. And this is the first time that I've really been able to do this. So in this business, I started, my first course was how to be a fashion stylist. My second course was a personal brand course where I teach the power of personal brand, the power of publicity. My third course was a mindset course because I'm a self-help junkie. I love personal development. And then I realized by this stage, I was really good at creating courses. And so I created a course that teaches you how to build a course and sell it on an evergreen funnel. And so that's my most recent course. It's called Freedom Funnels. And Freedom Funnels did 6 figures in pre-sales.
Amazing.
Yes, which was awesome. So that's my journey to sort of pre-Mike and pre-Peaceful Profits. The way that we were selling these courses was on evergreen webinar funnels. So we were sending cold traffic to an evergreen webinar. And this was all kind of working pretty well up until sort of about 2019, 2020. And then COVID hit. I had a lot of personal stuff go on during COVID. And once again, I did my old routine of burning out, blowing up my business, hating what I was doing and realizing that I just wanted to have a bit of a time out. So I kind of took a year or two off. The business sort of ticked over and ran by itself. And coming out of the back of COVID, I just realized I needed a different way of doing things. I wanted to share my knowledge in a different way. I also realized that I wanted to set up a real business, because in the past, it's been myself. In this business, it's been myself with one VA. So we've been doing 6-figure months with me and a VA, which is a recipe for burnout. It's a recipe for, adrenal fatigue. And I was just looking around going, what do I need? I didn't really know what I needed at that time. And I was looking at so many coaches and so many programs trying to figure out what was my next step. And that's when I found Peaceful Profits.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I love hearing your story. There's so much I want to dive into on there, but where I want to start, I think, is why. Like, clearly there's this entrepreneurial drive, right? You said, I'm never doing this again after your first business. Things didn't end well. And then here you do it again, and you're very successful at it over and over. And my question, the why I want to dive into first is, why, when there was so much success in your business, did you not hire? Did you not make things easier on you? What's going on that made that you feel like this is the way I need to run my business?
I feel like I didn't actually know any other way. And I think psychologically, I've done a lot of work with my therapist around this, is that I don't know how to ask for support, either in my personal life or in my business life. I was brought up by a woman who did everything herself, even though she was married to a very capable man. She did everything.
Yeah.
And that's all I know, is that I have to do everything myself and I can do it better. I don't even believe that. But it was just that mindset around, like, if I have to do it, I'll do it myself. And then I genuinely didn't know how to get from really great job, which is essentially what I'd done for the last 15 years. All of my businesses were just really great jobs.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to get from that to running a company. And I didn't know the logical steps, like you hired this person first and then this person next. And then I also just didn't understand the psychological reframe that would needed to happen for me to become a CEO. And I guess, if I'm honest, I probably wasn't ready for that. In the early stages of running this business, I was a full-time digital nomad. So I traveled the world with a one suitcase and a one-way ticket. And I was just kind of chilling and traveling the world and doing whatever I wanted, having no responsibility and location freedom and time freedom. And it was really fun. However, it's not a big business and it's not a sustainable business and it's not the CEO of a business. It's just a really great job.
Yeah. As you have grown your business, you've shifted from, in your words, a very fabulous job owner to CEO of a company. So talk to us about that difference. What do you do now compared to what you did back then?
So Mike's training has been really pivotal in helping me understand the shift that you need to make in order to step into this role. And this was one of the reasons why I signed up to Peaceful Profits, because he has all of that training around how to get yourself out of the day-to-day running of the business, which again is just something I didn't really think it was possible. I really didn't understand how to get there. So I think the biggest shift for me is that I'm now in more of a strategic position of directing the company in a more leadership role rather than the day-to-day hands-on. And that shift has been fundamental in allowing the company to scale at a faster pace. But it's also been challenging to hand over control of a lot of the operations and really step away from not knowing exactly what was said to that customer and exactly what happened there and what did you do with that. Whereas in the past, with my VA, I've been across everything. So I would always check all of her work. I, was CC'd on every email. So even just that is a huge shift to get away from, I don't know what's going on a lot of the time in my company. And that's okay. That's how companies are run.
Yeah, yes. But I think you bring up some interesting points that, there is a lot of mindset stuff that needs to happen to allow to let go of the reins a little bit and to allow that to happen, as well as the tactical pieces of, what to actually do and how to hand it over. Now, let's go ahead and back up. I want to talk about what happened in 2020. You said you went through this cycle again, 2019, 2020, where you were burnt out and just ready for a change. So is that kind of the place where did you transition and find a more peaceful business? Let's go to that part of your journey.
Sure. So 2019, I built 3 huge programs back to back with me and one VA. So I built Freedom Funnels and I delivered it live and built it and delivered it, which is a very stressful thing to do. It's efficient, it's quick, but it's stressful.
Yeah.
I then built Influencer Nation, which is my influencer marketing course, which I thought I was going to build like a little 197 program. It ended up being a huge signature program. And then I went and partnered with a friend and we built a career development academy, which turned into 4 huge programs. So that was basically my 2019, which I don't recommend to anyone.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that, I was commissioned to shoot this television show in LA. So I basically went from building these huge courses to going and shooting this TV show in LA. And then that was the end of 2019. And then 2020 was COVID. So after all that, and remember, I was a nomad. So I was used to just traveling. And now all of a sudden I couldn't even leave my house. So even that was a big shift around like, what's my identity now? Like my identity is, so now what do I do? So I guess I spent like about a year, maybe 18 months, literally trying to figure out what I'm doing next. I wrote a memoir, which is still sitting in the back burner. And then I started working on this book without really knowing what this book was. So, I knew that I wanted to kind of have something that pieced all of my programs together that people could afford, because obviously we're in a pandemic. I wanted to make something affordable that people could just join and get some incredible knowledge for the price of a latte. And I also just wanted to share my knowledge in a different way. So I guess I'd started looking at this. I also knew that I needed support around every facet of my business, in that I know I needed someone to read my copy and give me copy edits. I know I needed someone to help me with scaling. I knew I needed someone to help me with Facebook ads. I knew I needed all of these parts that Peaceful Profits offered. I also knew I didn't want to go out and hire someone, because the thought of hiring a copywriter well, they would want to rewrite my entire page. And I knew my pages were good. I just needed tweaks. And so, and the thought of like, oh God, I need to hire 8 different people. Even that is overwhelming and exhausting. And where do you go? And, who do you hire? When I saw the Peaceful Profits program, Mike had hired the best in the business and they were his people. So obviously they were great. He's got a huge business. They obviously were doing the exact work in his business that I needed in my business. And I could just steal his coaches as part of the program. Like he was just offering the coaches. To me, that was like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. I just needed someone to give me a bit of support in every single area of the business. And like, I can go and do it, like I can implement, I can figure it out. But it was just that, like, not really knowing what I needed was the problem.
Yeah. Okay. I love that you were so clear on knowing what you needed and wanting each help along each step of the way. And you're right. That's kind of rare to find all in one package. So you then came into Peaceful Profits and you took that book you had started and you created this beautiful book, Your Dream Life, that you're showing us. I love it so much. Talk to us a little bit about what a book funnel, the whole process of book funnel, creating it, and including this book, from what I understand, is structured a little bit different, and DREAM is an acronym. So tell us all about that as well.
So I just shot the Dream Life TV show, which was airing in America, and I wanted to try and capitalize on that audience, I guess, the traffic. And knowing that I'd built all of these programs, so I've got the mindset program, the influencer marketing program, the personal brand program, and the course program. When I looked at all of those programs, I was trying to figure out a way of sort of sharing my knowledge that links all of them together, but also makes sense to a new business owner that doesn't want to study any of my other courses. They just want a book that teaches them the whole facet of entrepreneurship and online business. And when I started to sit down and really formulate it, I realized like, this is the process I go through. I go through mindset stuff first, and then you need a really good personal brand. And then you need to build your estate content, which is like, instead of building a house, you build your online estate. A is automation, and then M is magnetism, which is traffic. So that's sort of the process. And if I think about it, well, that's the process that you go through when building an online business. Mm-hmm. So I linked all of these together, and I taught, I have all this incredible knowledge that I've been teaching over the years about each of these sections. So I put them in each of the sections. And then I also have masterclasses that people can go through at the end of each of these chapters to sit and watch a webinar, to go through some additional training, which feels like an incredible, I guess, like extra content that, if someone gets to have on top of a book that they're already reading. There's 5-hour-long masterclasses that you can go into, upskill yourself if you're interested in those additional, those particular chapters.
That's so cool. I love that idea for a book. So each chapter then leads to a master class. So I know this is fairly new in your business, but have you seen, do you have any idea on the numbers of people who read the book and then go and watch the master class, of what kind of percentage that's happening at?
Yeah, we're at about 20% of the people that buy the book will eventually watch some masterclass. Having said that, we are super new with the book, so this is still a very new funnel. But yeah, I mean, I imagine it being sort of about 30 or 40% just based on, if I was reading a book and someone said, hey, there's a free masterclass, I'd be like, yes, give me the free masterclass. That's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. And 20% is even amazing. I know you've got bigger dreams than that, and I'm sure it'll get there too, but that's so cool. I love this idea. And are these the same master classes or similar to what you were using before to convert cold traffic?
That's right. So they're the same, master classes. So before we were sending cold traffic to these. However, the products on the back of them were quite affordable. We were selling $99 products and $199 product. Which back in 2015 and 2016, you could run cold traffic to a $199 webinar and it would convert. Yeah. But it just got so expensive. Like in 2018, 2019, that was kind of the peak. Everything was super expensive then. And basically all of my funnels that used to convert, just the ROI started dropping really significantly, to the point that we just couldn't make it profitable even on my 997 program. So that's sort of why we had to figure out like what happens next, like what's the next thing that we can get people into our audience, whether they upgrade or not. At least they're part of the audience, they've paid to be there, so they're not freebie seekers, which I know Mike has a big stance on, which I believe as well. And they're a valued part of the community.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. So you've put this book funnel in your business. Talk to us about the results that you've seen, even in the short amount of time you've had it.
So we've got the book funnel that goes to the masterclasses. And then as part of Peaceful Profits, we also developed our high ticket offer, which was the first time we've ever done anything like this. So our high ticket offer is a done for you course creation service where we create your online course for you. So as it happened during COVID, I picked up a contract just to keep me motivated and to, get me out of bed each day. And the contract was to build one course for this one company in Australia. I ended up going on and building 6 courses for that one company in Australia. They just booked me back to back to back to back, and we built all of these courses. And then I started Peaceful Profits without even thinking that this was a high ticket offer. Like, it was just sort of like my contract job. And then during Peaceful Profits, Mike's first or second module is to build your high ticket offer, put it into review with Mike, and then to build that funnel out with a VA sending cold DMs. So this whole side of the business, I've never done before. I've never thought of doing before. I know people have the cold VA DM thing. I've never figured out how to do it properly. And Mike had just so much in-depth training on step-by-step. This is what you say to the VA. You give them, like, it was just so detailed, which I so appreciated. And as a result, we then created this high ticket offer, which was Course Creation Hero, the done for you service. I remember submitting it to Mike for review, and he gets you to fill out this form that says, who do you think your competitors are? And I said, Mike, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but I actually don't think I have any competitors. Like, I've looked and there is no one else offering this. And his reply was, yeah, no one else is offering this, because if someone did, they would get snapped up by a business like mine, and I would just have them on like internal rotation kind of thing. Like, I would just get courses and courses built. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is a good thing. And so in that initial consultation, that feedback that Mike gave, he gave us such strategic info around how to position that offer, what we should be including, like sort of at the front and back, that I hadn't thought of. So Mike said we should be including their sales page, their email launch sequence, which is so easy for us to do, but I didn't even think about doing that. And he told us to up the price as well. So as a result of that entire funnel, just that one piece of feedback from Mike, we upped the price. We have sold $120,000 of that one product. Our first sale on that one product was a little over 2 months ago. So in 2 months, we've booked over 120
Amazing.
grand. Thank you. And Mike's feedback, that one feedback from Mike, has resulted in $24,000 of additional money just from that one call from Mike. So that in and of itself has obviously paid for the course of Peaceful Profits. I mean, this was a big investment for me. The Australian dollar conversion was really crappy at the time. So I think it worked out to be like 21,000 Australian dollars, which was a big investment.
Yeah.
But even that one call from Mike paid for the whole course. So that has just been incredible. And I know Mike's stance has always been on like high ticket is a game changer. And I've never thought to offer anything like that. Again, there's a big mindset shift that needs to go into like, can I charge $10,000, $15,000, $20,000? And that was never something I thought I was in alignment with. And I guess going through the program and going through the courses that I'd created for these people, this one company, like I was making a course for them and we were making $100,000 the next month from the one course that I would make for them. And so this was happening over and over again. So I suddenly had a lot of proof that I was really good at this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. I'm really good at this. They're making a bunch of money from these courses that I'm making for them. Let's offer it to everyone else. And so, yeah, it's just been incredible. Like my VA is doing this completely peaceful outreach that I am not involved in at all. I do not even speak to her. She just books times on my calendar. I do the sales calls, which I'm super happy to do because I really love talking to people. I also want to make sure that I want to work with them before I, sign them up. So I'm happy to do the call, which feels very peaceful. I've never had that little input into, like, I jump on one sales call, someone pays me, 10, 15 grand, which seems quite effortless and seems very peaceful compared to everything that I've done in the past. So yeah, that has been a huge game changer. Like Mike talks a lot about how you should charge high ticket. And this is the first time I've done it. And this is the first time I'm like, oh yeah, you make a lot of money really quickly.
It is amazing to see your success. I love, I've been just lurking in the background, watching as you post in the Facebook group, in the Peaceful Profits Facebook group, and learning little bits and pieces of your story. And it's so awesome to hear where it's taken you and your journey and how it's all come together for you. And it's always exciting to hear a success story and to hear, in the last 2 months, as you're still ramping up, because it's going to take people, some time to read the book and watch the master classes. And there's a lot more where that came from, is what that tells me. So just kudos to you. Like, congratulations for putting all this together. It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Honestly, the program itself from Mike was so detailed. He had everything that you could ever imagine in there. And then being able to reach out to the specialized coaches for support has just been incredible. I really just need someone to point me in the direction, tell me what's right, tell me what to change, and I can go and do that. But I've never had that person before. And I've also been really reluctant. This was actually the first coaching program. This is the first time I've ever had a coach ever in my whole business, because I've been reluctant to hire someone that knew everything, and had built a business that I wanted to build, which was really important to me. When I looked at Mike's business, that's the business I want to have. He has a very peaceful business. He has, incredible team working for him, delivering his vision for him. And when I looked at him, I was like, oh, you have the same, I guess, ethos in terms of business that I have. Like, my course was called Freedom Funnels. His course is called Peaceful Profits. So I'm like, oh, we have an alignment there. We both think the same way. And I just super appreciate, he has a lot of information on mindset, which, as we've spoken about already, was a big step for me to step into the CEO role. And yeah, the coaches have just been, they're so generous. They're so generous. Like Alex, the copy coach, literally rewrites your copy. Like, I was expecting him to be like, this sentence sucks and this one needs to be changed, but he'll just get in there and do copy for you. And then the book writing coach was just incredible. So the support really is incredibly generous and very on point. I've never been like, I don't think you're right there. I've always been like, oh, that's really good feedback.
Oh, so good. Yeah. We have an amazing team here at Peaceful Profits for sure. So I just want to highlight what you said about when people are looking for someone to work with, look for someone that is in that alignment, in that way, that they have the business that you want to have. That just makes sense. And I think that's really crucial. So to finish up, a couple last questions. One is, we've talked a little bit today about the success you've had with your book funnel. Can you tell our audience the number one piece of advice that you would share with others who are working through that same process and want to put a book in their business?
I think it's exactly what we just spoke about. Find someone who's got the business that you want to have and invest in them. Either hire them as your coach, buy their done for you, or sign up to one of their training programs. There are so many people out there that have had successful businesses, but their running of their business is not how you want to run your business. And I think, I think about a couple of the speakers that Mike has alluded to working with. They have these huge businesses, but they have no time off. They're working 18-hour days. They work 7 days a week. And so just be really careful about who you're investing in, and does their life and their business look like how you want your life and business to look like?
Yeah, really good. And I love that piece. Their business and their life, because both really matter. So that's great. Now, to finish up, we would love to find out how we can hear more about you, get your book, all of the things. Where should listeners go?
For sure. Everyone needs to read my book, Dream Life, The Creative Entrepreneur's Guide to Amplifying Your Online Business and Creating Your Dream Life, is available at amberrenae.com/dream. And if anyone wants us to build a world-class online course, we have availability. We've got actually now have an 8-week wait list, which seems insane, but we have an 8-week wait list, and we're creating incredible courses in wildly diverse niches. We've got a kid entrepreneurship course. We've got a discipline course. We have an animal massage course on at the moment. We've got a bunch of self-love, personal development courses. So if you want to have a chat, just go to amberrenae.com/call. There's more information on there. You can watch some video and look at some testimonials on there as well.
So great. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Congratulations again on your success. I've loved hearing your story. Thank you everyone for being here and for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.